Trump was today years old when he figured out that Vladimir Putin killed people. Play the clip.
Provide us an update on Russia and Ukraine as well.
Yeah, I'll give you an update. I'm not happy with what Putin's doing. He's killing a lot of people, and I don't know what the hell happened to Putin. I've known him a long time, always gotten along with him, but he's sending rockets into cities and killing people, and I don't like it at all, okay? We're in the middle of talking, and he's shooting rockets into Kiev and other cities. I don't like it at all.
Okay, this is a guy who famously ran that if he had been president, the war wouldn't have started. And then he said that if he won, he could end it within 24 hours, be piece of cake, no problem. Then he gets inaugurated and he starts with all of these Russian propaganda points, even saying that Ukraine started the war. Right. Then he berates Zelensky, who was our ally in the Oval Office, in the most humiliating, embarrassing, horrific Oval Office moment any of us had ever seen. And now he's standing on the tarmac and it just hits him that Putin might be a bad guy. What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
It's crazy. Here's the thing about Trump. For him to sit there and say, well, I don't like it at all. Okay, you have the power of the United States government behind you. You could do something about this. You're talking about trade and lifting sanctions. What you need to be doing is putting the screws to him, just like the EU is. But instead, he sits there and grandstands and says, well, I don't like it at all. Well, who gives a shit? Put your money where your mouth is, you stupid fuck.
Well, this is because the Senate is putting pressure on him with all of this double playing with Russia. And he is compromised by Vladimir Putin. I think that intelligence has always shown that. He has shut down all of our monitoring and internal guardrails that make sure that Russia is not spying on the United States. He shut that down. Right. So this guy to get out here and lie like this, it's always, and then the press just sane washes over all of this. And this notion that he plays into, the liberal media is against him. You know, he's just a constant titty baby victim. The legacy media is your biggest ally, buddy.
Absolutely.
They have sane washed you, I mean, from top to bottom, left to right. At the end of the day, he will do this little tweet or in this little press conference to call out Putin. But behind the scenes, he's got the biggest dipshit on the planet, Witkoff or whatever his name is, over there who's just heaping praise on Putin. Make no mistakes, Putin is at the epicenter right now of the United States government pulling the strings on Trump, not pumps. And Hillary Clinton called it. He is a puppet for Putin. Next up, we have a post here where, put this up. Here's what he posts Monday morning. I've always had a very good relationship with Vladimir Putin of Russia, but something has happened to him. He has gone absolutely crazy. He is needlessly killing a lot of people. And I'm not just talking about soldiers. Missiles and drones are being shot into cities in Ukraine for no reason whatsoever. I've always said that he wants all of Ukraine, not just a piece of it. And maybe that's proving to be right. But if he does, it will lead to the downfall of Russia. Likewise, President Zelensky is doing his country no favors by talking the way he does. Everything out of his mouth causes problems. I don't like it, and it better stop. This is a war that would have never started if I were president. This is Zelensky, Putin's and Biden's war, not Trump's. And he puts his name in quotation marks for what reason, unbeknownst to me. I am only helping to put out the big and ugly fires that have been started through gross incompetence and hatred. I mean, he is the president of the United States, has the highest level security clearance imaginable. I can't even think of anybody who would have a higher security clearance, and he doesn't know what happened to Putin. Have you not had people brief you on the psychological breakdown that the CIA and the FBI and the United States Armed Services have done on this guy, that he's a dictator that knows that you fall prey to superficial flattery, that knows that you're indebted to Russian countries? And, we always can go back to what happened in Trump 1.0. And I always think about this. He had the Russians go into the Oval and they dismissed everybody except for the translator. And then they tore up the notes. And I just think this guy has been compromised by Russia from the jump. He is selling the United States of America down the river because he doesn't give a shit about the country. The biggest lie he's perpetrated is that he's a patriot.
Right. You're 100% right. You're exactly right. And I think what stands out to me the most about these texts is that he has to say that it's not his war. He didn't do anything wrong. And that he has to say, oh, I was right. Putin wants all of Ukraine. I called it. I got it right. And it's just like, dude, where have you been? Like you said, he was today years old when all of this occurred to him. He is such a disgrace. It is just sad.
Okay, here is a video that just shows you the dementia / cognitive decline / another theory I have working here is that the doctors have him sedated all of the time. He is always in the Oval with a lot of cameras, and he has a narrator / translator who narrates everything that he's doing. He literally has no idea what he's signing. And here's just an example of how incompetent this man is, and how he has to have instructors and teachers and narrators surrounding him, explaining to him what's going on in real time.
Well, guess what? We've been running nuclear in that for 4 decades. Why are we even asking that question? I'd rather spend that $35 million, 3 times $105 million, perfecting a design, start building the foundation and getting going. We need to do this for America.
Are we doing something about the regulatory in here?
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, you are.
You are,
Because
sir.
that's going to be a big factor.
Yes, sir. That issue I just described will be addressed in this EO and many other issues that we don't have time with the president to
But
cover
you say it's
today.
we've contemplated just about everything, right?
Well, this, Mr. President, this Energy Dominance Council that you have created is something I haven't seen in 30 years.
Oh, God.
Okay, so that's enough. First of all, you could hear, I don't want his voice chipmunked here. You can hear him going, so is the regulatory stuff in here? And he's bobbing, and it's just like every story above the fold should say Trump appears drunk, Trump in massive cognitive decline, Trump doesn't know what's in executive orders that he's signing, hasn't pre-read them. But instead, it's covered by the legacy media, which Trump calls the, what does he call them? The enemy of, fake news, enemy of the state, all of this shit. They're the biggest. They're the worst because they're the ones who get the moderates on board thinking that somehow this is normal and that Trump has his faculties about him. And he does not.
He can barely keep his head off the desk. I mean, if his body language alone was stark and worrisome.
Okay. And then, when I think of the president of the United States, I always think, maybe he should be the president for everybody, not in Trump's America. He always puts out these hateful, ridiculous, psychotic, rambling truth social posts, which we here at IHIP News called Lie Social. Here is his Memorial Day wish for the United States. Happy Memorial Day to all, including the scum that spent the last 4 years trying to destroy our country through warped, radical left minds who allowed 21 million people to illegally enter our country, many of them being criminals and the mentally insane, through an open border that only an incompetent president would approve, and through judges who are on a mission to keep murderers, drug dealers, rapists, and gang members. And he goes on and on. Okay, think about this. A president of the United States is saying that judges want to keep rapists, gang members, and murderers free. And he says this type of stuff with such frequency, it doesn't even get covered. Joe Biden one time called Trump supporters trash. They had a 3-week-long meltdown where they went to Trump rallies wearing trash bags. I mean, the biggest titty baby parade I had ever seen in my life. One time, Hillary Clinton called them a basket of deplorables. Stage 5 meltdown. I mean, just the most thin-skinned people on the planet. He is accusing, if he wants to call us radical scum, whatever, I don't give a shit. I have thick skin. It means nothing to me. But to say that judges are trying to keep criminals on the streets is such a dangerous lie. And he does all of this with impunity, and it's rarely called out.
Well, the reason he's doing this with the judges is because the judiciary is the only thing keeping us from complete fascism and autocracy. Every single one of his executive orders are going before the court and they're being struck down soup to nuts. So he has to undermine the judiciary and the rule of law in the mind of his supporters. And that's exactly what he's doing. He calls people scum. His hateful terms for how he calls the names that he calls people, I just dare say nobody on planet Earth would ever get away with except for him. And it's absolutely horrific.
And why you don't have groups of people with advertisements and a whole campaign saying Jesus was a radical leftist.
Right.
And in using examples, I think this is a message that people within the faith that want to defend their faith need to counter, because he does all of this stuff with impunity, and all he has to say to his crazy evangelical basis, these radical leftists. Well, let's remind these religious nuts that the central character of their faith, one Jesus Christ, was himself a radical leftist. All right, that's all we have for today. Oh my gosh, please go online right this second. Our book, Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches, is out. It's a great read. It goes through the history of all of Mayan Pump's fuck ups, which were abundant. All right, we will see you all later.